I call this meeting of the Castleberry Independent School District Board of Education to order. Let the record show that a quorum of board members is present, that this meeting has been duly called, and that notice of this meeting has been posted in accordance with Texas Open Meetings Act, Texas Government Code, Chapter 551. We always ask, what is best to promote and encourage achievement for every student in our district? And I believe we have Ms. Carroll to present our invocation.
Dear Heavenly Father, I ask that you be with us this evening as a board and as a unit to just make decisions that are best for our students, be with everyone represented here as we go home later, and that we would all do what is best for our ISD. In your name we pray, amen.
We always have time for communication from citizens. We appreciate you being here this evening, and we always welcome communication from citizens of our district. This is an annual public meeting to discuss the state financial accountability rating. Individuals who wish to speak on the state financial accountability rating must sign up on the sheet provided by Mrs. Branch. Shall confine their remarks to state financial accountability rating, and their comments shall not exceed 3 minutes. No officer or employee of the district shall be required to respond to the questions from speakers at this meeting. Mrs. Branch, do we have anyone that has signed up?
No, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, Miss Board President, Vice President today, sorry. I'll get that right. We have our discussion item at this time. If we'll have William Wooten, Chief Financial Officer, will present Castleberry ISD State Financial Accountability Rating issued by the Texas Education Agency. Just a reminder that the 24-25 rating is based on the review and analysis of the district's 23-24 annual finance audit report, so it's lagging data.
Thank you. Good evening, Madam Vice President, Board of Education, and Superintendent. Tonight's public hearing is to discuss the state accountability results. Next slide. So what is School First? School First is a state financial accountability rating system which holds school districts accountable for the quality of their financial management practices, and more importantly, that they improve on those practices. Board, in other words, the School First is about transparency, it's about accountability, and it's about continuous improvement in school finance. Next. Go back one. So what is the purpose of School First? School First is designed to encourage Texas public schools to better manage their financial resources to provide the maximum allocation possible for direct instructional purposes. In other words, I like to say School First isn't just about compliance. It's about ensuring that financial decisions directly benefit students. So what's the goal of School First? The goal is to provide additional transparency to taxpayers, board members, and other stakeholders which support meaningful financial oversight and improvement for school districts. And this is important. This criteria is based, it's a 24-25 rating, but it's based on the 23-24 financial data. So it's looking 2 years in the rear. The auditor came here last November to discuss the financial data of the 23-24 audit. So it's based on that year. And I would say that for the 24-25, we will look a lot stronger than our current score. The criteria also is 21 total indicators, 4 critical, 17 measurable. The 4 critical indicators are pass or fail. The 6 indicators are pass or fail as well. And there's 11 indicators that are measured on a 10-point scale. Let's talk about that. Next slide. So the School First system is built upon 21 indicators. These indicators are divided into 3 categories. We see that they're critical, solvency, and financial competency. Tonight's issue that we're going to talk about is solvency. We're pretty strong in the other 2. So what's important about critical indicators? These are non-negotiable. If you fail one of those critical indicators, that will impact your financial rating. Solvency, this measures the district's ability to meet its obligations. And we're able to meet long-term obligations. The issue tonight with solvency is short-term obligations. And I would note that this data is specific to a point in time, June 30th. So when we close out that last day of the fiscal year, the cash that we have in the bank, that's the snapshot that it's looking at. So, and then financial competency indicators, this measures how well the district manages its resources, which they focus on efficiency, long-term planning, and responsible financial practices, which altogether, these indicators will tell the story tonight. Next slide. So this slide shows the summary of Castleberry ISD School First performance. Out of a possible 100 points, we scored 74, which results in a C. Let's kind of break those categories down. We talked about the critical indicators, the pass or fail. If you fail one, there's a really good chance you're going to fail the whole School First. It's going to impact your score majorly. We passed, of course, all the critical indicators. This means the district met the most essential compliance requirements, like following the audit on time. We got a clean audit for the 23-24 year. We were able to pay our debt obligations, and then unrestricted net position. So the story tonight, again, is solvency. And solvency is more than just cash. Solvency is, cash is part of it, that's one picture, but it's also current assets. You know, it's also being able to be liquid at any point in time. So here are the challenges. As you see, we earned a low points on cash on hand, 2 points out of possible 10. Liquidity, we got 4 out of possible 10. And then the revenues are greater than the expenditures, which saying that we collect more money in than we spent. We got 0. Previous year, we got a 10. As I said before, we're really strong on the competency indicators, but we're going to work on the actual solvency. Next slide, please. So the critical indicators, I really want to kind of show you that this is a chart that compares the 22 to 23 financial data to the 23-24 financial data. As you see, our scores didn't change. They're the same. And so I kind of want to just highlight that, let you know that we don't need to talk about it. If you want to talk about it, we can. We did everything correctly. Nothing changed. Next slide. So here's where we want to spend our time right here. Solvency indicators, which measures whether the district has enough cash or resources to meet its short-term obligations and maintain financial stability. Board tonight, this is the heart of tonight's story. Our drop came from 3 solvency indicators, indicator number 7, indicator number 8, and indicator number 9. Indicator number 7, we earned 2 out of the possible 10. Number 8 was current assets to current liabilities. Are we liquid enough? We earned 4 out of the possible 10, and we're going to take a deeper dive. And then number 9 is basically, did we spend more than we earned? And the possible amount of points is 10, we got a 0. So this slide is, for a second. So this section of the solvency indicators focuses on more of a long-term financial health and efficiency. If I can point out anything here is the indicator number 13, which is administrative cost ratio. The possible points we get is a 10, we got an 8. We stayed the same year over year. What they look at there is that they compare what you spend in administration functions as opposed to instructional. And so I think an 8 is pretty good, possible. It's always ideal to get a 10. And so we're moving in that direction. Next slide. So these indicators evaluate how well the district manages financial reporting, compliance, and transparency. Nothing changed here. Absolutely nothing. From audit year 22-23 to audit year 23-24, we have the same scores. Next slide. So the last two indicators focuses on governance and state funding compliance. Our performance for the 23-24, Castleberry earned 74 points compared to 94 points in the previous year. This 20-point drop is almost entirely tied to solvency indicators, cash on hand, liquidity, and deficit spending. So let's take a deeper dive. We've said before that we're really strong on two of the indicators, which is critical indicators, pass or fail. You fail, no bueno, you will fail first. Financial competence indicators, we did really well on. So let's talk about the solvency indicators, which are indicator 7, indicator 8, indicator number 9. Next slide. So this is the solvency indicator number 7. Basically what it does, it measures number of days cash on hand. It says, was the number of days cash on hand and current investments in the general fund for the school district sufficient to cover operating expenditures? We see that the benchmark, TA benchmark 90 days as the maximum amount of points, 10 days, 10 points. We had 38 days cash on hand, which is why we received a 2. And so the reason why is we know based on our 22-23 audit from the auditor, as is reported, that general fund cash fell from 10.9 million to 6.1 million, which is a $4.8 million drop in 1 year. The general fund spent 4.8 more than it earned. This drained reserves and lowered available cash. The general fund absorbed about $666,000 in ESSER salaries. What that means is that we had a ESSER grant, we overspent, auditors showed up and moved the money back to the general fund, subsequently draining our cash balance. And then the general fund cash covered federal grant deficits, cash tied up until reimbursements arrive. So what that means that as of June 30th, that magic date, if you haven't drawn down on the money that you fronted for the federal grants, that cash won't be recorded until after June 30th. And so that's kind of what happened. So we actually went down. We got a 2, so we got 38 days of cash on hand. Next slide. So solvency indicator number 8, basically, in simple terms, is saying, do we have enough in the bank to cover what we owe in short term? Right, so we know that we're pretty good on long-term, paying long-term liabilities. This is a short-term liability conversation. Basically, the benchmark is you want a 3. If your ratio is a 3, that means you get maximum points. We got a 4. And so this indicator measures whether the school district had sufficient short-term assets at the end of the fiscal year to pay off its short-term liabilities. We said before, cash went down, liabilities went up, and the ratio is $1.86. So what does that really mean in just like layman's terms, right? So I like to think of it as I like to think of it like a home, right? Like you're paying a bill. If your monthly bill is $100, you would want $300 set aside to actually pay that bill. You want that cushion. So if we were to look at it as if our monthly bill was $100, we would have $186 to pay it. And so in previous years, we had a 6. So now we have a 4. And so that reduces the flexibility. Obviously, if the monthly bill is $100 and I have $300 come in every month, I feel like I have more flexibility. But as it is, we have less flexibility because we have 1.86 as a ratio. As again, I would tell you that I believe that we're going to be in much better shape when we have the discussion next year. Next slide. So this is the actual solvency indicator number 9, that the school district's general fund revenue equal or exceed expenditures. So basically, did we spend more than we earned? We did. And this isn't a one-year issue. The 22-23, we spent about $3.6 million more than what we budgeted. So based on our original budget, we spent $3.6 dollars more based on our audited numbers. And in 23-24, the auditor told us that we spent about 4.8 more than what we budgeted. That repeated overspending pattern created a back-to-back general fund deficit spending, which is why indicator 9 failed to achieve maximal points in both years and why our cash balance has dropped so sharply. So board, tonight's story is not about compliance. We're compliant because the critical indicators say so. It's not about governance. Financial competency indicators, we're doing really good. Our issue is solvency as of the 22-23 audit, as of June 30th. That's the discussion. We're having a discussion that happened 2 years ago today. These 3 indicators, cash on hand, liquidity, and whether or not we collected more than we spent, that's the issue. These are all telling us the same thing. We've been spending more than we bring in, and it's draining our cushion. Fixing solvency is the key to raising our score and protecting Castleberry's financial health. I believe that based on what the superintendent has done last October, setting the standard as to what we should look like. One of the things that I was charged with the first day I got here is tell me how we look in cash. I'm not sure she remembers, but it was a cash discussion, and that's the reason why, we had 10, 15 action items to do for last year. So I want to say we met with our auditor just last week, and he liked the things that we have in place. And when we compare ourselves to other school districts, we're doing the right things to move in the right direction. This slide, disclosures, is a pretty standard requirement for the board or the community to access. So, next slide. This is probably the most exciting slide here. What are the quick wins, right? So we believe for fiscal year 2026, our immediate actions are establish a fund balance target. We know we had 38 days of cash on hand to operate for the district. We believe that we need to set a minimum reserve at year 1 of 45 days, and year 2 of 55, and year 3 of 65 days operating expenditures. Now, these are only estimates; they're not written in stone, but we believe that the 45 days that's achievable. Want to build transparency, continue to come to the board and discuss our financial outlook, whether it's general fund, debt service, capital project fund, and federal funds. And then tighten expenditure controls. Want to freeze, discourage non-essential cost. One of the things we did for the 25-26 budget, we did a 10% reduction in our payroll budgets. And so I think that was heading in the right direction. So if we were to look at a multi-year strategy, these are things that we think are long-term fixes. Cash and liquidity management, make sure that we review payroll, vendor payment cycles to better manage revenue inflows. Mr. Lasher and myself will be looking at contracts probably within the next 45 days to make sure that, there's anything that we have duplications of and things that we need to align better. We're actually having those discussions. Structural balance, that's pretty much maintaining 3 to 5 year financial forecast models tied to enrollment and property values, and that's really a summary of finance. We are looking at that we'll be looking at that every 6 weeks with the superintendent. And this is what I'm probably most proud of that we have done each week. We have had team collaborations with all these folks who are sitting in this room. They're smiling because they know it's been pretty painful. So we work together as budget managers and campus department teams to identify offsetting revenues and sustainable growth opportunities that reduce long-term pressures on the general fund. So we're really having those discussions to make sure at the end of the year that there's no surprises. And if there are, we should have reported those up the actual chain of command with the superintendent and the board, so. Madam Vice President, pending any questions, I turn the public hearing back over to you, ma'am.
Thank you, Mr. Wooten. And let me ask again, Ms. Branch, do we have anyone who wishes to speak to the board tonight regarding the report?
No, we do not.
Okay. The board can ask questions. Linda, any questions? Okay. Kathy? Okay. Janice? No? Okay, thank you, Mr. Wooten. Without further discussion or questions, I move we adjourn. Hearing no objection, we stand adjourned. I call this meeting of the Castleberry Independent School District Board of Education to order. Let the record show that a quorum of board members is present. Okay. 6:22. Okay. We had to wait for a full minute, sorry. I call this meeting of the Castleberry Independent School District Board of Education to order. Let the record show that a quorum of board members is present and that this meeting has been duly called and that notice of this meeting has been posted in accordance with the Texas Open Meetings Act, Texas Government Code, Chapter 551. Okay. And again, we always keep in front of us that we want to do what is best to promote and encourage achievement for every student in our district. Mrs. Branch, do we have anyone who has signed up to speak at the meeting?
No, we do not.
Okay, thank you. Okay, Mrs. Smith Faulkner, were any questions called in regarding the consent agenda?
No, Madam Vice President.
Now we're going to move on to our first presentation.
Yes, at this time, we have our high school bond program construction update. We have Cameron Holloman, our bond program manager, and representatives from BTC with us tonight who will present a construction update on the 24 Castleberry High School bond program.
For that, Madam Vice President, Superintendent Mrs. Smith Faulkner, and board members, I'd like to give you a quick update on our September update of the bond. Go ahead, Angela. Okay, we're going to do three things. We're going to complete this on time. We're going to stay within budget, and we're going to do it in compliance of all the safety guidelines in order to provide a great learning environment for our students. Go ahead, Angela. Okay. Quick timeline, this will shift now to December. We'll look forward next month because some of these things have been accomplished and completed. Big thing here is the stormwater drainage. We're hoping in September we get to make that connection. It's all pending on AT&T. That's our biggest challenge right now outside of what we have control of. And the other things are moving along. I would like to note that our bids are in. We're going to have BTC mention a few things on the cafe and media center. So those are the big things there. Thank you. And construction, more detailed look at everything going in. Again, we're on time. We've got a little bit of drilling of the piers, and that will complete all of the underground piers for the entire project. So decking is just about all completed, and if we can get that stormwater connected, we'll have just about all the infrastructure done. So we go. Thank you, Angela. And then from a financial standpoint, we're still at about, I think we're getting close to about 30% complete because Israel's moving a lot faster than our invoices are. So we've only paid out about 25% to BTC. We do have a pay app on our desk now. But we're we're probably at about 30% complete on the construction project. And with Lenny working alongside us on the soft cost, we've still got about 72% of that fund remaining to last us. We have reached the 16-month mark. Congratulations to Castleberry, since you guys, since the voters voted to pass the bond. So we're doing good there, and we've got about another 16 months to go. So we're just about on the way downhill, and we're looking forward to keeping it smooth. Thank you. And without further ado, I'd like to invite Mr. Scott and Mr. Britt up here with BTC to give you an update on all the wonderful things that they've been able to do.
Good evening, ladies. Again, my name is Britt Patterson. I'm the project manager for BTC on the project. And I'm just going to go over a couple of the progress photos that you see here. So basically, the photo on the left is about 2 months ago. So this is the current photo. This is going to be the band hall renovation. You can see the storage, all the instrument storage and everything. The flooring is already put into place. We have flooring protection down to keep the floor protected. And we're anticipating turning this over to the school district at the end of this month. So, all right, this is the technology office. This is going to be this is the new technology office. It's part of the renovation area that we're doing just outside of the band hall, which was the actual old gym. So that's what that band hall picture was. That was the actual old gym in there. Next slide. Okay, so this is going, so this building right here, that's the existing cafeteria and gym. So this is our little connector building that we're calling, this is Unit C, this is the connector, it's gonna be the 2-story connector building. And again, this was about 2 months ago, and now you can see that we've got the floorboard, we've got the steel line for the roof, and you can see this is gonna be where the sky bridge is gonna connect, this connector building over to the storm shelter in the new gym area. But you can see the progress that we're making there. All right, storm shelter. So, as you can see, this was about 2 or 3 months ago. We've got our steel joist in, we've got some of the structural steel in, we've actually poured the roof on top of the shelter. And you can see this is our little structural steel sky bridge that's going to connect the 2 buildings. This area right here is actually part of the locker rooms that are going to be subgrade. So basically, you're going to have walkways, everything that's going to be around this area. And then this area right through here, we had to backfill, since we had to over-excavate. That's where it looked like the big hole that was down there where the storm shelter was at. So we finally got all that backfilled. We're going to be bringing in our drilling rig. That's like Mr. Cameron said, we've got some few piers that we're going to have to do in this area. And then we'll get this complete to where we're going to connect the 2 buildings. This is the classroom wing that's over here, and again, this is the storm shelter. Next slide. Okay. And again, this is another angle for the classroom wing. A couple of months ago, you can see we've got most of the structural steel, the steel joist, all the decking. We're actually putting on the metal studs for the exterior walls that are going to be in place. So, with that, do y'all have any questions about the progress of the construction? Oh, it is very exciting. Like Cameron said, we ran into some issues, and I think Scott Beatty, we're going to talk about some of these things. The stormwater on the infrastructure that's going into place, we've had to work with the city of Fort Worth, which has been a challenge. I'll put it that way. So, but yes, we're getting ready to make the final connections for the stormwater, which that will help us tremendously with the drainage situation that we have out there. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Scott.
Good evening, thank you. Just wanted to hit on a couple of major points that we've been working through over the last several months, many months, some of them. So PR4, that's just our nomenclature for, some design changes. This was the media center. This was also the black box, the theatrical area. So we did bid it out publicly, even though that we've already been awarded, a certain portion of the work, and we already have subcontractors on board. So we did bid it out publicly, and we've got summation of costs that we believe are inside of the budget established by the district. We are scheduled to get started as soon as we get the go-ahead and have it open and ready for school in August of '26. So that's just the first piece. The second piece is, remember, we broke the job up into 2 packages. We did a lot of preparation work that we just called early package 1. So we had $129,000 of savings from that package. So then we deduct it out of that contract. and then we propose to add it to the current building contract so that the funds can still be used for construction. Last item, the water line. So you guys are probably tired of hearing about the water line. So we were required by the city, if you're going to tap into the water line, it's essentially a moratorium from many months ago that you have to replace the line. It's an old corroded ductile iron line. And so we've gone through all the rigmarole of design and bidding and all those things. And in our August meeting, they kind of threw out at us an option 2, which is the district, BTC, do not replace the water line, that they will replace it on their dime in their time. So it's been kind of funny because so many months have gone by of all of this back and forth. So, but I guess I'll just say on behalf of BTC, we do recommend option 2, which is the district is not responsible to replace this line. There's all sorts of risks that come along with it. They will allow us to tap the line and bring water to the new building, just like we always would, just like any project would, no different, through the normal process. But it's just something that we can get out of our hair and just get back to building the schoolhouse. Any questions on those items? Be happy to answer. That is the same water line that we've been talking about being reimbursed for. Yes, ma'am.
So, but we would, such as Scott said, we would do the work at risk. And so there was a $192,000 shortfall in the reimbursement. So now with them doing the work, we would be able to apply the 192 to the library. And so that's why we had some of the changes to the media center.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, they're gonna replace it.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
No, it's not for that reason. It's a long-range replacement plan that the city of Fort Worth has. Yes, ma'am.
So I have a question. So this water line, it wouldn't interfere with the structure? It's not going to be under the storm shelter or anything?
It's out in the center of White Settlement Road.
Okay,
Yes, ma'am.
okay, very good. Thank you. Thank you so much. Okay, we will be moving to 4B, District Improvement Plan, 2025-2026.
Yes, at this time, Dr. June Richland, our Executive Director of Educational Leadership, will present the 25-26 District Improvement Plan with a focus on our priority areas.
Good evening, Madam Vice President, School Board, and Ms. Smith-Faulkner. Thank you for the opportunity to present this evening on the District Improvement Plan strategies. So I'll get started with reviewing our priorities. Notice I will only address the priorities tonight. However, you did receive a full copy of all of the strategies for the DIP. So we'll get started with Goal 1 strategies. Our first focus area is 8th grade social studies. To meet our goals in this area, we will implement vertical alignment in grades 6th through 8th grade. We know that this strategy will help to ensure that our students in 6th grade all the way through 8th grade will become more familiar with our 8th grade content. In addition, we will be incorporating STAR released items into our 8th grade common formative assessments to ensure that we are aligned. This is something we've been doing, and we will ensure that we are tightly aligned. In addition, we are going to be setting aside and ensuring that there is protected time at the elementary level for social studies instruction and for PLCs for social studies instruction, again, with the goal of reinforcing 8th grade social studies content. Our K through 8th grade teachers are implementing new social studies curriculum, so we are supporting them with that implementation through PLCs and professional learning. In addition, they've got updated guiding documents and pacing calendars to ensure that they know what to implement when. I want to point out these bottom 2 strategies have stars next to them because you will see these 2 strategies throughout my presentation. I will explain them on this slide, but then I will skip past them on the other slides. So we will continue to support our teachers with internalizing lessons, with breaking down the TEKS and ensuring that their instruction is aligned to the assessments that they're administering. We will also, throughout the school year, as we always do, progress monitor. Every time we've got data from the variety of assessments that we are implementing, we will analyze that data and then use that data to drive our instruction, to develop our action plans, and to provide intervention to our students. At the 7th grade level, so this is exciting. You'll remember from when I spoke with you last month that all of our 7th grade students are taking 8th grade math, and we are already seeing some positives as a result of that change. So what we're doing is we are transitioning our teachers through our guiding documents. Mr. Hutchins is making changes to those documents to support this transition. It will lead to all of our students having the opportunity to take Algebra 1 prior to high school. We also are providing our teachers with explicit training on the Desmos calculator. Our 8th grade students, have the right and the ability to be able to use that calculator on their STAR assessment. We're also supporting hands-on learning through the use of the concrete representational abstract model. This will help to ensure that we balance conceptual understanding with procedural skills and with fluency. In addition, we are supporting problem solving with the district-wide problem solving model, UPS Check. Our next focus area is English 1 and English 2. To meet our goals here, we're facilitating full-day PLCs for English 1 and English 2 teachers, where we will really dig into the content to support them. We will assist them with breaking down the TEKS and internalizing lessons, as well as developing formative assessments for this first 9 weeks. We will also conduct data walks in their classrooms to ensure fidelity of curriculum implementation and implementation of the strategies that we're working on with them. And then we'll provide targeted feedback to the teachers once per 9 weeks. We will follow the coaching cycle with these teachers to develop their capacity as well. And through the guiding documents, we will ensure that revising and editing supports are in place to support the students with responding to the text that they are reading. In addition to those areas, we are also focused on extended constructive responses. This one focus has the potential, well, it will, no matter what. This will impact achievement in 3rd grade reading all the way through English 2. So this is a priority area for us. We know that it's such a focus area that we are intentionally spending a great deal of time putting structures in place to support it. We are building teacher capacity through prompt analysis, and we're breaking down the prompts with the students to ensure that they know how to break down the prompt, and then our teachers are modeling strategies to use with students. In addition, we are embedding pacing of prompt analysis and planning throughout the guiding documents. That way we ensure that it happens consistently throughout the school year. Administering cold reads is a strategy that we're adding this year so that we have a better feel and a better measure of how our students are performing when they are given something they have never read before, and then they're asked to create an extended constructive response after reading. So this will tell us how they're functioning independently. In addition, we are providing coaching support to our teachers, which may look like side-by-side coaching, as well as modeling and collaborative planning. And we are refining our use of writable and AI supports this year. We're training our CALs to ensure that they have a strong handle of it so that they are then able to support teachers with purposeful classroom integration. Continuing with go back one slide. Sorry, Angela. So in addition to what I just shared with you, what I just shared was 3rd grade through 12th grade supports. These are our 3rd grade through English 2 supports. Here are some additional supports that we're implementing at the elementary level and at the secondary level. So at the elementary level, our Reading Language Arts coordinator is developing a teacher bank of model lessons to support each component of the essay, so that then our teachers are able to scaffold the learning so that all of our students are getting exactly what they need. Wherever it's breaking down for them, we are going to really focus on supporting those particular skills for them. We are also incorporating structured student talk and oral rehearsal so that students are really thinking through what they're going to write before they write. And then we are facilitating calibration sessions where the teachers will collaboratively analyze the trends that they see in their student writing, and we will embed PL to scaffold writing instruction for our students. At the secondary level, we are conducting triple-blind ECR scoring sessions to ensure consistency and reliability. So this means that our teachers two teachers will score writing, but we will also utilize AI so that we are measuring our ability to work consistently and measure our consistency between what we are scoring our students and how AI is scoring our students. We will provide training on the planning phases of the writing process while providing choice methods for students. So they will be required to plan, but they will have a choice in how they're going to plan and the tools they're going to use. Here are our retesters. Oh, could you go back one slide really quickly, Angela? And can you open that link there? Also provided for you at the bottom, and you'll hear a little bit more about this later from Ms. Smith-Faulkner, so I'm only going to touch on it. You'll see that I've included data for the total number of zeros, the percent of zeros, and what that looks like with our 10% decrease goal. You can go back. Ms. Smith-Faulkner will cover more when she's up. In addition, on the next slide, I'll focus on our retesters. This is another area that is a high priority for us. Our goal is to reduce these retesters by 30% in every area. So to do that, we're implementing one central spreadsheet that our stakeholders, our PLC teams, and our A staff will use to review student data, to plan for intervention for our students, and to monitor the implementation for 100% of our retesters. In addition, we are reviewing our PLC agendas to ensure that we are always setting aside time in PLCs for our teachers to answer the question, what do we do when students have not learned it? And then time will be spent in those PLCs developing intervention. Through the use of ACE and student attendance logs, we're also going to ensure that this intervention model gets started and is in full swing by October 1st, 2025. We are going to adjust our summer learning calendar this summer so that retesters who are also in need of credit recovery receive the intervention and support they need first for their STAR assessment that they have yet to pass before we move into credit recovery. Similarly, we are developing a committee who will review the prerequisites for CTE practicums, credit recovery, and other electives to ensure that we are streamlining our academic planning guide to ensure that our retesters are first receiving what they need to pass their STAR assessments before we're looking at other courses for them. In special education, we are increasing in every subject area and grade level by 3%, and we're going to do that in a variety of ways. So through effective student support, least restrictive environment, and content alignment, our goal is to increase the number of special education students who we are able to successfully exit out of special education by 5% in the 25-26 school year. Also, 100% of our special education teachers will complete standards-based IEP training by their second year with the district. We will continue to use our data walks to reduce the 2 lowest yield co-teaching strategies and increase the 4 highest yield co-teaching strategies. In addition, we will support our special education co-teachers and resource teachers in the same way that we support our general education teachers in what is provided through our Teaching, Learning, and Innovation department. And if you'll click on that link, Angela, here you can see in each grade level and each content area, you can see where our special education students performed at the end of last year and what the 3% goal increase looks like in each area. And again, you'll see this later. So if we move on to the next area, goal 2, we have a few strategies as well. First is early literacy. Now you'll notice as I go through early literacy, remember that the overarching goal is 3rd grade. So many of the strategies that I will cover here will also be in place for our 3rd grade students, which you'll see on the next slide. So we are implementing our redesigned literacy block with an emphasis on word recognition, comprehension, and personalized practice. We are going to monitor the implementation of that model throughout the school year using data walks. Our principals will have specific look-fors that they will look for when they're in the classroom, and then during principal PLCs, We will look at the trend data and plan for next steps. We will provide explicit instruction in kindergarten through second grade guiding documents on formulating constructive responses when reading. In addition, we have already revised our standards-based report cards to align them to Amira. We've also reduced the length and made them parent-friendly. Our campus academic leaders will be collaborating with teachers during PLCs to support them with developing small group instruction aligned to Amira. And our district early writing committee will be meeting to evaluate our curriculum and develop strategies to help improve writing skills. The campuses are also setting literacy goals, and the students will monitor their progress on those goals. And those goals are aligned to Amira. Writing mechanics lessons are being incorporated into our kindergarten through second grade guiding documents to improve our student performance. That will occur daily. And our pre-K through second grade teachers are, as always, are using beginning of year, middle of year, and end of year benchmark data to monitor and adjust instruction. And we will continue Just Right Readers in second grade this year to support decoding and fluency. And then if we look at third grade reading, again, everything that starred, I've just reviewed for you. That will continue in third grade. But in addition to those, we have provided updated explicit writing lessons in our third grade guiding documents to support our students with short and extended constructive responses. And we've added TEKS clarifiers for the readiness standards, including scaffolds, small group strategies, and reteach opportunities to meet the needs of our individual kiddos. And then if we move on to math, we're excited about implementing daily math fluency routines through Facts on Fire. We are able to do that in kindergarten through fifth grade through a grant that we've received. Our math coordinator also has vertically aligned instruction to strengthen our numeracy skills, kindergarten through fifth grade. And as you heard earlier, we are implementing the CRA model to increase hands-on learning. We are also, like you heard earlier, implementing our district-wide problem-solving model to ensure that our students are successful with multi-step real-world problems. Ms. Harper also adjusted the curriculum guide for third grade to ensure that more time is being spent on multiplication and division. This will assist our students with really internalizing these skills. And on the next slide, we're going to move on to Goal 3, communication. So we're really excited about this student-led conference day. This is our first day. It's been incorporated into our calendar. We have never had a student-led conference day like this before. So our students will have the opportunity on this day to meet with their parents and explain to their parents the progress that they are making academically, behaviorally, and in attendance. They will review the goals that they have put in place, the progress that they've made, and their action steps. At the middle school and high school level, they will also review their graduation plans. Remember, that starts very, very early for us. And then also exciting, on the student-led conference day, we will also be incorporating a college day into that. So our upper level students at the high school level will not only talk about everything that I just mentioned, but they will have the opportunity to tell their parents about where they are with CCMR completion, TSIA completion, and all of the work that they are doing to ensure that they are prepared for post-secondary learning. And then Goal 4, operations, as you just heard from Mr. Holloman. We will ensure that our state-of-the-art high school facility is completed on time and is beautiful. In addition to that, we have some newly mandated safety standards that we will focus on this year and ensure 100% compliance. Thank you very much for your time this evening.
Thank you. Are there any questions?
Turn my microphone on. You answered the question about the scoring. I think that you guys are hand scoring and AI, that's great. Some
Yes.
calibration there. I do have a question about the ACE staff and being trained for providing intervention or support.
Yes, ma'am.
How does that happen? Are they trained across content areas?
So I will tell you that, remember that most of our ACE staff are our current teachers. So like at the high school level, when I was referencing the ACE staff, we have school district biology teachers, school district English teachers, school district math teachers that are providing that instruction. And so, yes, they are trained, and in most cases, they're in the same PLCs where we are looking at the data and planning instruction.
Got you. So if I have, let's say there's a student who needs additional support, there used to be, I'm the math teacher, I'm the reading teacher, I might provide after-school tutoring outside of ACE. Does that still exist, or is it just ACE?
So are you asking whether or not, do they have to work in ACE, or can they tutor separately on their own?
Separately on their own.
So we do, Ms. Smith-Faulkner, feel free to add to this if you want to. I'm going to answer as best I can, but
Okay.
you can add to that. So go ahead.
Yes, for example, Ms. Bierce, in her newsletter, she just sent out information that all of her staff are responsible for tutoring, I think, 1 day a week in addition to ACE. And so in the first part of ACE has to be tutoring. That's according to the guidelines. So some of our teachers kind of get to double dip because they tutor a couple times a week through ACE, and they're able to get paid while they're also tutoring a lot of the students that we have targeted that maybe were not successful and need that high-impact tutoring more frequently.
Right, okay.
So it's a combination.
It's a combination. Okay, perfect. Thank you for that. And then I think just going back to the special education conversation, the standard-based IEP training, like you talked around, but then how do our SPED numbers compare to the state average? Or are we comparable? Are we higher, lower, as far as our numbers of identified students?
I did not pull that data, so I don't want to.
No worries.
I don't want to guess without looking at that data. I would want to make sure that I answer.
Yeah.
Yes.
Denise is like, I got this. Yeah, that's fine. I think just curiosity. Yeah, thanks.
Kathy, any questions? No? Okay. Thank you very much, Dr. Richland.
Thank you.
Now we will move on to 4D, Superintendent Scorecard.
We're going to go back to 4C before we go to 4D. So in 4C is our goals in our early literacy, mathematics, and college and career military readiness. We have Whitney Harper, our elementary lead coordinator, who will be presenting, our Becky Putney, our early literacy coordinator, Stephanie Martinez, director of CTE, and Dr. Darla Barnes. Our CHS academic dean will present the recommended House Bill 3 goals for early literacy, math, and college and career and military readiness. If Becky will go ahead and come up, I want to draw everyone's attention to EA Legal that is posted on the agenda. Just as a reminder, these are the 3 board goals. And so the board adopts early literacy goal, which we've made a recommendation, mathematics, our numeracy, and our college career military readiness plan. So that's 3 goals that the board adopts. We've wrapped it into the DIP and into the strategic plan so that it gets the attention that it deserves. So you set specific annual goals for the following 5 school years to reach our performance in these 3 areas. So in addition, when we do our Lone Star governance training, those are the 3 board goals that you'll be looking at according to legal policy that the board sets. So the board, just as a reminder, adopted the 2020-2025 House Bill 3 goals that we've been progress monitoring over the last 5 years. So we've shared the progress on them. They're linked also in this agenda, but I do want to note that some assessments utilized during the 5 years did change throughout the 5-year cycle because as curriculum changes and new assessments are updated, new baseline numbers are established, and then progress monitoring based on that. The district has now, coming to you today, refreshed the 3 goals for you with new 5-year goals that we started working on this summer, and aligned new annual performance objectives for each goal. So how are we going to measure if we're getting to this overarching 3rd grade reading, 3rd grade numeracy, and CCMR? Under each performance objective, and new this year, and Becky and everyone will be explaining, the district placed a space on the scorecard for additional milestones to be shared after the district administrator progress monitoring, which is held every 9 weeks. So we usually give you the goal. At the beginning of the year, we do presentations on where we are at the beginning, middle, and end of year. In addition, you're going to see that we've broken it down to more categories in which after each benchmark or middle, beginning, or end of year, what categories are we really going to be focusing on during our progress monitoring. And we're going to go ahead and place them. This is in addition to what we usually do, place them on the scorecard so that our school board members can look at what components of each goal we're looking at and our performance objectives, and you're seeing what we're reviewing every 9 weeks. And so we provided the 3 scorecards with the recommended goals, and so each group will kind of go through what's on their scorecard.
The annual goal. So the 5-year goal for 3rd grade is that the percent of 3rd grade students that score meets on STAR reading will increase from 36% to 55% by June 2030. And then below that, for the annual goal, you'll see that we want to increase from 36% to 40% by the end of this school year. And then underneath that, you will see the increments that will get us to that 5-year goal. So you'll see the goal, the annual goals that we've set for each year to make sure that we get to 55% by June of 2030. Then to monitor our annual progress, we're going to track student growth through our reading benchmarks. And so you'll see space for our reading benchmarks. The reading benchmarks are STAR-released tests, but as you know, when we say reading assessment, it's really only about 50% that's reading, and the other 50% is writing. So you'll see that we're going to be monitoring our progress in the 4 areas that we can see student proficiency on a benchmark. So that's reading, just being able to answer questions from a reading passage. It's revising, it's editing, and then writing is their essay that they write in response to a reading passage. We want to break it down that way because you saw some of our goals had to do with reducing zeros in their essays and things like that on our district improvement plan. So that's going to help us provide really targeted instruction. After 3rd grade, you'll see in pre-K that the same thing. In light blue, you see the 5-year goal for pre-K, and under that, an annual goal. So pre-K, I wanted to remind you of 2 things in pre-K. One is the tool that we use to measure literacy proficiency in pre-K is from our commissioner-approved assessment, which is CIRCLE. And the way that we don't track approaches, meets, and masters, it's on track. You're either on track or you're not. So we're going to be looking to see every literacy component on CIRCLE needs to be on track for a student to be overall on track. So our 5-year goal is going to be, will increase from 68% of our students being on track in all literacy components to 82% by 2030. And then our annual goal in the gray field is to increase to 70% by the end of this school year. Now, you'll see that we're looking for all literacy components, but you'll see 4 in the space here that we're monitoring. Those are 4 areas we're going to be paying particularly close attention to because they align to kinder readiness the next year. Kinder readiness is made up of these areas, and that's what the state uses for our T-peer reports. The T-peer reports are reports that anyone can access, and a lot of entities use those reports to discuss and monitor how districts are performing. So we want to make sure that we're on track in those specific areas as well. Then after pre-K, you'll notice in kindergarten through 2nd grade that we're going to be measuring literacy proficiency with a MIRA, and we'll track an overall mastery score, and then we'll track both sides of that reading rope that we've talked about before, so the word recognition mastery and comprehension mastery. Now, MIRA doesn't assess writing, so we'll continue to use our beginning, middle, and end of the year writing benchmarks. And then in 2nd grade, you'll notice one additional component that we'll be tracking. Since 2nd grade is the year before 3rd grade, we want to make sure that they have some practice on STAR formatted assessments. So we do reading benchmarks for 2nd grade, and we'll be looking at their, in addition to a MIRA, we'll be doing reading benchmarks where we look at their reading, and then we also look at their editing and revising. And then just like in kinder and 1st grade, they also have the writing benchmarks beginning, middle, and end of year. So that's the early literacy scorecard for you. Thank you.
Questions?
Thank you. First of all, I have a quick question.
Sure.
So I see the early literacy goals, and I know we have English and Spanish. Are those collectively English and Spanish together, or those be
Yes, on
separate?
this scorecard, it is collectively together, but we do track that data separately as
Okay.
well. Okay?
Thank you.
You're welcome. Anything else? Okay, thank you.
Good evening, Superintendent Smith-Faulkner, Vice President Martinez, and members of the school board. Today, I'd like to highlight our district's progress towards the HB3 early numeracy goals. These goals are not just numbers on a page. They represent our commitment to ensuring every student builds a strong foundation in mathematics from the earliest grades. Please note we are using the goals our students met from spring of 2025 as a baseline for our new 5-year goals. So let's begin with 3rd grade. Just like in reading, the light blue area is our long-term 5-year goal, while the gray section shows the yearly goal for 2026. In 2025, 27% of our 3rd grade students met or mastered grade level on STAR Math. The district's goal is to raise that number to 55% by the year 2030, with an interim milestone for this year of 34%. This means in just 1 year, we need to move nearly 1 in 10 more students into the meets category. Now, this is ambitious, but achievable with the right supports in place. To monitor all grade levels, we will be measuring progress on our benchmarks throughout the year, as you can see on the bottom line for the 3rd grade area. Now let's look at pre-kindergarten. Currently, 91% of our pre-K students are on track in math on the Circle Progress Monitoring Assessment. By 2026, the district will strive for 92%, and by 2030, 95%. Early numeracy is critical. These skills are the building blocks for later problem solving and conceptual understanding. Our kindergartners show 93% of students are meeting the expectation on the end of the year STEM Scopes math assessment. So this is a different assessment than they're taking in pre-kindergarten. Our trajectory takes us from that baseline up to 94% by 2026 and 95% by 2030. Now, although our numbers are already high in this grade level, it's extremely important that we're able to maintain these early numeracy numbers year after year. Our 1st grade is in a very strong starting space, starting place, with 86% meeting expectations on that end-of-the-year STEM Scopes math assessment. The challenge here is different. It's about sustaining high performance and growth toward that 92% by 2030. That requires not just maintaining a strong instruction, but also ensuring consistency across all classrooms and campuses. Finally, in second grade, we see that 88% are meeting expectations on the end-of-the-year STEM Scopes math assessment. The district's 2026 target is 89%, and by 2030, we're striving for 93%. This is a pivotal grade where fluency, number sense, and problem solving converge, which set the students up for success on the rigorous demands of STAR in the third grade. Now, as Dr. Richland mentioned earlier, to assist us with our fluency goals in kinder through fifth, Castleberry ISD was awarded a 3-year grant called Facts on Fire through Oklahoma State University and TEA. Every student on every elementary campus practices daily fluency at the same time each day. The entire campus is vested in this fluency practice, and the students are very excited to beat their score from the day before. For elementary campuses to reach these short and long-term goals, we will focus on high-quality instruction, consistent progress monitoring, numerical fluency, and strong intervention supports every day. Thank you.
Questions?
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Good evening, board members, Ms. Smith-Faulkner. We are here to present our newly updated House Bill 3 CCMR goals for the next 5 years. We wanted to ensure that our new recommended House Bill 3 goals are in alignment with our A through F accountability measures. We've had some really great successes with our overall CCMR goal and plan to keep it that way for the subsequent years. While the TEA may create more hoops and for us to jump through, we will continue to pivot and ensure our students are ready for college, career, or the military. We will maintain our goal of 98% for 25-26 and look to raise it by a percentage point until 2030. While this may seem like a small increase, it represents a critical push to close the gap for a few students who are not yet meeting the standard. As you will see, the same intentionality has been recommended throughout our newly recommended goals.
The second recommended goal focuses on strengthening college readiness through standardized assessments. Only 12.5% of our graduates currently meet or exceed the college ready benchmark on SAT, ACT, and TSI-2. We aim to raise that to 20% by 2026 and to 35% or 30% by 2030. We are testing as early as 8th grade to be intentional about preparing our students for college readiness. In addition, we're monitoring that student progress, as you can see, throughout the year. Our third recommended goal is emphasizing academic acceleration through dual credit opportunities. At present, 21% of our graduates earn college credit before leaving high school. We are recommending a goal to increase that to 25% by 2026 and ultimately 30% by 2030. Currently, we offer around 10 dual credit classes, which will continue to increase at CHS.
We are committed to expanding career readiness through our industry-based certifications. Currently, 37% of our students graduate with a certification and completed pathway. However, some of the industry-based certifications we are currently utilizing will be sunsetted, which means they will no longer count for CCMR. If you remember, we had the MOS certification. They sunset it a few years ago. So it's like they kind of figure out what we're using and then they pivot on us. So notice our percentage is going to drop to 2026 due to the anticipation of this adjustment. So if you were wondering why that went down, that is we're making accounts for that. This will mean a lower recommended goal in 2026, but our short-term recommended goal is to reach 25% by 2026. A longer-term focus of refining and increasing participation ensures a strong workforce alignment by 2030 to meet the recommended goal of 30. And we've made adjustments to this in our current pathways and are still on track for the new spaces in our CTE building coming up here shortly. Lastly, our final recommended goal is to increase the percentage of graduates who complete an on-ramps course or dual enrollment, you may hear it, and qualify for college credit. Currently, 19% of our 2025 students achieve this, and our target is to grow to 21% by 2026, ultimately 25% by 2030. We have increased our on-ramps courses to 8 course offerings and over 20 different class selections this year. Thank you for hearing our recommendations.
Thank y'all, first of all, thank you for that. On the TSIA, SAT, ACT, do all of our students take that, or what's the percentage of students that actually take those assessments? That make up the 12%?
Junior year, we test every student for SAT, and we do try to test every student for TSIAT starting in 8th grade. We have different benchmarks in 8th, 9th, and 10th grade where they're given opportunities to pass TSIAT.
So this 12% is collectively all of those
Yes, ma'am.
assessments?
Yes. Both.
Both, okay.
Correct.
To get CCMR credit, they have to master both. So we have a lot of kids that do really well in English or do really well in math, and now they have to do well in both.
Got you. Okay, thanks for that clarification.
You're welcome.
Any other questions? Thank you. Okay, next we'll have Mrs. Smith Faulkner doing the superintendent scorecard.
You do have a paper copy of the scorecard. You had the House Bill 3 recommended goals, and then you have a copy of the scorecard. You're probably thinking there are a lot of goals, a lot of performance objectives that have been presented tonight, and a lot of strategies. And you're probably thinking, how are you going to monitor that? Well, all of the goals and performance objectives are created after careful review of the end of the year data. And it actually begins in June. As soon as we get the STAR data, we get some of the end of year literacy and numeracy, and our CCMR data starts coming in. We collect that, we have presented it to the school board, and then we take that data and we begin looking at it in June. And then at the July ALT retreat, the district admin, they come together and they review that, and we determine, as such as what Dr. Richland provided today, are the hot spots. What are going to be those priority areas, and what are we going to put our time into? And so we really looked at our data and decided what are those areas that we're going to focus on this year. And you heard some of the strategies from Dr. Richland that the team came up with. After that, we also established what is our professional learning going to look like at the beginning of the year, and we've already hosted a lot of the professional learning in these areas. People sometimes come to the superintendent and they say, these are too many goals and it's overwhelming. But let's break it down a little bit. There's various departments, there's subject matter experts, and there's campus-specific assigned goals to achieve, and everyone as a team has to work together and do their part for A through F accountability. We can have 3 board goals, but if we just look at literacy, early literacy, and we only look at numeracy, and we only look at CCMR, there's going to be big gaps in our A through F accountability. So there are a lot of goals, and it takes a real strong team, and I'm glad we've had such retention to all come together and do their part in their areas so that our A through F desired outcomes can happen. So it takes the district's close monitoring of all these presented goals and all the team members pulling their fair share. It means that our beginning of year and middle of year benchmarks, we're going to look at them. All those categories have to be looked at individually and monitored to drive those student outcomes, because we have to make adjustments and change our course of action when not. So these goals that we've talked about drive the district's 9 weeks progress monitoring, in which when all the administrators come together, they have 40 minutes, 35, 40 minutes of presenting their data and their action plans and what are next steps. we come together, and I have lots of presentations with a lot of data, and how can the superintendent monitor all of those items? And also, I've had some of our CALs already look at the scorecard so that they'd have a quick look at their presentation, kind of like a Cliff Notes version of it, because we do look and collect data each 9 weeks. So what I've done is I provide a copy of what I'm calling the superintendent scorecard, and it is an additional tool that I'll be using this year and sharing with our campuses to monitor student performance. And it is directly aligned with the DIP priorities, which host your House Bill 3 goals and also has your strategic plan goals. So they're all tied together. So Kelly, see you've pulled up the first page of the superintendent's scorecard, and this basically takes Goal 2 of the DIP, which is the House Bill 3 performance objectives. I want to walk through at each 9 weeks kind of what happens as we collect data. So for example 1, RLA, our performance objective number 1, the percentage of third grade students that score meets on STAR reading will increase from 36 to 40%. Next to benchmark 1, let's say that kids scored 38% meets. We'll type in, you got to pull up, go ahead and pull up the other one. Yeah, go and pull up the one that's not read only. It's okay. Yeah. Oh, okay. So you changed it, it's not the one anymore. Okay, so what we would do is where it says benchmark 1, we would put, let's say, 38% of the students, and you can point to where benchmark 1 is. There you go, Kelly. So on benchmark 1, you would put 38%. And then where it says no data, there's a drop down, and I would place a red concern, a at risk, an on track, or exceeds or superior, and you can see those color codes at the bottom. So for example, if they were 38, I would click and make that yellow, and it would be on track next to benchmark number 1, okay? And so you would see that for benchmark number 1, I'd have a quick and easy way to see if we were on track. But also notice that you heard a lot of other performance objectives. You'll see that the SPED approaches, and this actually is related to RDA, which we didn't speak a lot about. We're monitoring how many of our students in SPED actually pass. Last year, we had 47% of our SPED students pass 3rd grade reading. So our goal is to add 3 points. And so if you look at the goal, it says 50%. So once we do benchmark 1, we're going to monitor how many of our SPED students were at approaches. So we will know just in that specific grade level, not as a district as a whole, because I need to find out what grade levels are struggling with meeting that SPED goal. And then even better, we also have how many zeros were on that first benchmark, because we're looking at decreasing zeros by 10%. And last year, we know that our 3rd grade scores went down, and when we analyzed it, we had over 49% of our students receiving zeros on their benchmark, on their STAR test. So our issue is that we had more zeros than we had the previous year. And so our goal is going to be that we want to get our zeros down to 39%. Okay? So now in one spot, we have several of our performance objectives, and I can very easily look, and the CALs can look at that and see if they're on track each of the 6 weeks after we go through our progress monitoring. So all of that is wrapped into 3rd grade, and we can see, there you go, Kelly, you brought it up. So you can see that we've entered the 38, and then I would change it to yellow. So very easily I can say, hey, we're on track, we're moving in the right direction. And we'll, each benchmark until STAR, we'll be able to monitor that. A trend, if you look and go down to STAR reading 4th grade, Our zero goal is 22%. And so you see that significant lower. And what trend we're seeing is the lower zeros you have in writing, the higher your overall score is in your reading, in your ELA score. And if you look at middle school, we're going to pull it up. And when you have really low zeros, you have very high performance in students. And because that writing is 20% of the overall score, there's a direct correlation. So when Dr. Richland showed you all of the strategies on our constructive responses, that is why we know that there is a big correlation between the writing scores and the overall score. And we need to be sure we're calibrating with not only teachers, but what does AI say after our teachers score it? So that's the three blind scoring. Okay? If you look at math, you'll see that there's 3 benchmarks and a star. We also have our SPED, and so our goal is 38% of our SPED students will be approaches on the math benchmarks. And you'll see that we have already taken every grade level and provided the goals for each subject, including science in 5th grade. If you go to page 2, we have a middle school scorecard. And on the middle school scorecard, I think this really tells the trend that I was sharing, because Kelly, if you pull up 4th grade, notice that, 6th grade, you'll notice our goal is to get our zeros down to 4%. We had a very high score in our ELA star scores compared to the state. We did quite well, and when you notice, there's a direct correlation to our writing scores. So we know that when we have higher writing scores and we get the 20 points, that we're doing better on our overall meets, also in our reading. So I think that that is just very eye-opening on what trends and why we have to focus on writing and revising and editing, because it's 50% of the test. And so we have to get those early literacy scores so we can move on to revising, editing, and writing. So you'll see that, and I think the middle school did really well on their extended responses. In math, you'll see that we have the SPED approaches goal also. And then in science, we also have our SPED goal along with our benchmarks and social studies. We do know that we did not have a lot of our SPED approaches in social studies, and you can see that that's why the goal is very low. Only adding 3% means we only had 11% of our special ed pass our social studies. And so we're working on providing more support there. As a matter of fact, we had a social studies teacher get his SPED certification. So we are addressing that in some of the strategies. If we look at the high school scorecard, you'll see English 1, English 2, science, social studies, math, all of our end of course. You'll see that we have our performance objectives. In English 2, notice we had much higher percent of students not passing the writing portion of the test, and so we will be working on that. But in science and social studies, we had a high percent of our SPED students passing. Our House Bill 2 CCMR goals are also at the very bottom. They don't go into as much detail as the House Bill 3 scorecard. I do not need to reinvent that, but I'll just be watching that. And then on the last page is the overall district scorecard, where I look at the district as a whole. So not only are we going to look at our extended constructive response zeros, the district goal is to decrease it down to 20% zeros from 30% overall. So I'm going to look at it by grade level, and I'm also going to look at it as a district. How are we performing? Is it just one grade, or is it a district systemic issue? So I have that. The overall retesters are added at the bottom. In here, the district has done significant work, because we know if we don't work our retester numbers down, we're never going to perform on our high school A through F. So if you look at these numbers, in June, in English 1, we have 94 retesters after the June assessment. So we want to decrease that by 30%. So if you look over to the right, the goal is to have, after our December testing, is to have 66 retesters that we will be working with, and they'll take their next assessment in April, during the STAR test. So we know how many, we know who they are, and we know what they need. It's been a lot of work. We know what path they're on, what class they need to be in, and if they need credit, or if they're actually in a full day extra class getting them the support. So that's there. And then the percentage of special ed students approaching grade level, our goal is to be district-wide at 37% when we look at all tests collectively. So that is 3 points higher than last year on approaches. And again, if you ask why approaches and not meets, because that's based on RDA. So we take every bit of data and decide what areas do we need to keep a close eye on, and where did we set our goals. And now this is, after all the presentations, we have an area that will complete the scorecard each 9 weeks, in addition to the presentations, to have a quick view. That is all I have, Madam Vice President.
Thank you, Mrs. Smith Faulkner. Any questions? No? Thank you.
Thank you.
At this time, the board will retire to closed session under Texas Government Code Sections 551.0.071 and 551.074 to discuss the items listed on the agenda. And the time is now 7:27. I call this meeting back to order after our recess. The time is 7:44. As we continue tonight's meeting, we welcome all who have joined us as we keep asking how we can best promote and encourage achievement for every student in our district. The mission of Castleberry Independent School District is inspiring and empowering all students to be innovative thinkers in the global community. At this time, we will begin with the pledges.
Yes, we have two students from Irma Marsh Middle School.
Please stand for the pledges. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And now for the Texas flag. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Thank you. I believe we have some campus recognitions.
Yes, at this time, we have Irma Marsh Middle School and the STEM Academy recognition. So Irma Marsh Middle School students will recognize students and staff who are en route to destination success.
Good evening, Board Vice President, Superintendent Smith-Faulkner, and other members of the board. My name is Osiris Garcia, and we've hoped you packed your boarding pass because tonight you're flying with us. Our trip is heading straight to destination success. We can't wait to show you some of the awesome things happening at IMMS and the wins we've already had this year. At IMMS, our vision has been the same, to be a school where everyone can learn, grow, and belong. We do that by keeping our school welcoming and supportive, so students can succeed both in class and in life. It's not easy, but we've got this.
Good evening. My name is Iker Morales. Our first stop is all about discipline. Go ahead and stamp your passport because we've given our behavior systems a big makeover this year. We've changed how we handle protocols, responses, and the structures across the whole campus. We want to shine the spotlight on someone who helps make this work every single day. Our ISS monitor, Alexis Fernandez. Ms. Fernandez, will you come up to the front? Ms. Fernandez takes her job as an ISS monitor very seriously. She made a daily schedule for students that includes yoga, meditation, and a time to reflect on their choices, plus a focus on academics so no one falls behind. She also brought in behavior workbooks and even a think sheet to help students learn from their mistakes and get back on track. Thank you, Ms. Fernandez, for helping students turn challenges into success.
Hello, my name is Camila Gallardo. Our next stop is all of our facility staff. This team works together and so hard every day to keep our school looking great. We want to give a special recognition to our head custodian, Mr. Cecilio Hernandez. Mr. Hernandez, will you please come to the front? This summer, our campus was used for both middle school and high school summer school, which meant Mr. Hernandez had way less time and his team to get everything ready for the new year. But he led with amazing work ethic and dedication every single day to make sure it happened. Thank you, Mr. Cecilio. We've got this because of you.
Our next stop takes us to the classroom of Mr. Steven Rivera. He's new to the IMMS this year, but brings 7 years of experience and is teaching principles of hospitality. Right away, he has shown us the kind of teacher he is, one who welcomes every student into his classroom and makes learning meaningful. Mr. Rivera, could you come to the front? everyone. My name is Camila Najera. One thing we love most about Mr. Rivera is how he includes our community-based instruction students. In his class, all students are called on, celebrated, and encouraged. This helps students build skills for independence in the future, and it also shows us what great teaching looks like. Thank you, Mr. Rivera.
The next step on our passport is for our bold moves. This year, every 7th grader is on the honors track in math. That means they'll all be taking the 8th grade STAR test, which includes using a calculator. We are already following the lead of Dallas ISD, who has already shown success with this model. And it's already paying off. Last year, when you combined in 7th and 8th grade Unit 1 math data, the scores were 61% approaches, 45% meets, and 21% masters. This year, the combined scores are 86% approaches, 74% meets, and 45% masters. That's a huge jump, proof that bold moves make a big difference.
At IMMS, fine arts are a huge part of who we are. Tonight, every fine art is represented by our student presenters: visual arts, band, choir, mariachi, and theater, which shows the strength and variety of our programs and how important the arts are to our campus. Our visual arts program recently submitted artwork for the TAEA contest and will be displayed at the TASB convention. Our band has 428 students, the biggest in Irma Marsh history. They're getting ready for their first pep rally performance and for all region. Our choir students are preparing for Region 30 auditions. Mariachi Los Cachorros is practicing for their very first district-wide performance during Hispanic Heritage Month. And our theater students are preparing for their first show of their year, as well as a Junior Thespian Festival. Together, these fine arts programs prove that no matter the stage, canvas, or classroom, our destination is success.
Hello, my name is Yaretsi Pacias. The next stamp on our passport is why IMMS. At IMMS, families in our community have choices, and we are proud to say they chose to travel with us. I myself am actually a transfer student too. At IMMS, students get to learn, grow, and belong. And on this stop, you'll hear from parents themselves about why they picked our school.
Because I love this district. I feel like kids academically, and they after school with the kids, the tutoring, the programs like the field trips and the school.
They really take care of the kiddos and help them. Like he's on special needs, so they have a really good program here for them.
I would like to share the reasons why I decided to transfer my daughter to Irma Marsh. I believe Irma Marsh offers an environment where Victoria can grow, not just academically, but also through athletics. Irma Marsh's overall B campus rating also played a role in my decision. Victoria's a bright student, and I felt it was only right to place her in a school where she could truly flourish.
Hello, my name is Alan Vega, and I'm a new STEM student. For our last stop, we're stamping our passport at the IMMS STEM Academy. STEM stands for Science, Technology, Engineering, and Math. And it's a special program right here at our school. Every year, incoming 6th graders can apply in the spring. And this year, we had so many applicants, we had 2 cohorts this fall. This year, we're excited to have two 6th grade cohorts in the STEM Academy. Both groups even kicked off their journey at the STEM Summer Camp, where they got to explore hands-on projects, meet new classmates, and start building their skills for the future. Another stamp in our STEM passport is all about field trips. STEM students get to go on extra trips that connect to their learning, like the Flight Museum, the Autobahn Center, the STEAM Carnival, and more. These experiences take what we learn in class and make them real. Another stamp in our STEM passport is all about field trip. Oh, sorry. Every STEM student takes part in the science fair. It's a big chance to show off their projects and ideas. And many of our students go to compete at the regional level. It's proof that their hard work really pays off. Thank you so much for allowing us to showcase our school to you tonight. We would like to take a moment to thank our families for coming to support us. Please stand if you're a parent of an IMMS student or the presenters this evening. We would also like to thank IMMS staff for coming to support us. Please stand if you're an IMMS staff member. Thank you again.
Thank you. We love the presentations. Great work is going on there at the middle school. We're going to take a few moments to take some pictures, please. Mrs. Branch will help everybody organize. But if y'all can come up at the front here. Thank you. We will now continue and return to some items that we moved prior to us breaking for closed session. So now we will go to 4E, District and Community Reading Incentive.
Yes, at this time, our lead librarian, Diana Kobe, will present the District and Community Reading Initiative that our librarians have been working on.
Well, thank you, Madam Vice President, school board members, and Superintendent Smith-Faulkner. I am very excited to talk to you about our district's reading program. All right, we have worked really hard to align our reading program with the district's literacy resolution, and some of the ways that we are able to do that is using our reading program that we've designed is that it's going to increase reading volume and practice. We will also help with motivation and goal setting. It will provide teachers and administrators with some data for instructional decision. Hopefully, it's going to create this great school or community-wide literacy culture, and through our incentives, have a shift in our motivational experiences with some of these wonderful incentives these librarians have put together. All right, so as you can see, we believe that when we read together, we succeed together. And so we are looking forward as a district to help support our students with their reading and increasing this desire to read, not just academically, but also for pleasure and for the joy of reading. We are going to be using Beanstack. Now, the great thing about Beanstack is our students are familiar with it. Even now, as at the high school level, we have been using Beanstack long enough in the district that some of them are even familiar at the high school level. And one of the great things about tracking the minutes, it's not necessarily the tracking part that's great about, it's the fact that they can see growth. And we're asking students this year to read 2,000 minutes, and we've broken it down even further. That's 300 minutes a month or 15 minutes a day. We know that 15 minutes a day changes a student's reading. It allows them to develop their vocabulary. It allows them to build academically and improve throughout in their lives. So that's the minimum goal of 15 minutes a day, and hopefully as we move forward, we'll be able to see that progress. We've already had students already logging in and participating, and we haven't even kicked it completely off. The kickoff starts, as you can see on the next slide, starts with our superintendent challenge. It is posted today. So if you have students and community members in Beanstack, they can show you the different badges that they can receive. The initial badge, the great thing about Beanstack is when you sign in for any program or any of the reading challenges, it signs you up for all of them. So any minutes that they have will just roll over as they do the superintendent's challenge. So we are ready. Today we kicked off it is posted. You look forward to some Parent Square messages that Beanstack is the superintendent's challenge is kicked off. We have some intermediate badges along the way, but we're looking forward to in January that we could have some reading pep rallies where we celebrate the reader's progress, even the small progress to the highest level. We want students to realize if you read, you're a reader, and we want them to grow in that. And then at the end of the school year, we are looking forward to taking those students that have the 2,000 minutes and taking some campus photos with the superintendent, say, hey, this group of students met their goal and they've reached this 2,000 minutes, this accomplishment. So we look forward to following that superintendent's challenge and sharing those achievements throughout the school year. So each campus has set a goal based on basically the student enrollment in elementary and middle school and high school. We're just working to get the students engaged. I will tell you a little secret. Without those cell phones, the circulation at the high school has been through the roof. They're like, what do we do? And so they have been checking out books. And so we're trying to figure out ways how to keep those books coming while we transition into our new space temporarily. So each campus has set their goals, and we're developing, you can see this visual tracker that AV Cato has, that as the students read, each campus is looking forward to creating this type of a tracker some way or other that the kids can see visually, where are we as a campus in reaching their goals. Our goal is 1 million minutes, and we believe that it is achievable, and we believe that we can surpass it. As we embrace this as a district and as a campus and a community, we will reach the 1 million minutes, and I think we'll be able to reset that goal and achieve higher than that. So we are grateful to our librarians and our library staff, because without them, this does not work, because they're the ones that monitor and provide the incentives. We've tried to simplify the incentives this year a little bit by just breaking it down to monthly challenges, and then school-wide goals, and then the end of the year goals. There are little things along the way, but each month as a student meets their goal, there's an incentive that's provided by their librarian in their library. And we have, this is our new addition this year. This is our traveling trophy. It will go to the campus at the ALT meetings, and they will get to house it in there with Benny the Bean. Each campus has their own bean that they're going to pass around to classrooms, but this is the one that gets to stay with the trophy, and they will get to have the trophy. It'll be based on the minutes per student, because we understand that some campuses are larger than others, and if we just went purely by minutes, it could lean one way or the other and leave out some of our smaller campus, or maybe the high school. You never know. So this will be traveling around, and so watch for those photos and things coming your way on Parent Square. Now, we do have a timeline, so you can kind of track where we're at throughout the school year, and this just shows you up through December, and we're going to just keep it. Basically, we will be doing a monthly challenge, and then at the ALT, we'll report the districts just to keep it in front of everybody. I feel like if we are familiar with it, if our students are familiar with it, our community is used to seeing those numbers, they'll be looking forward to that growth and that progress throughout the year. And we look forward to helping support not just reading in the libraries, but our students' academic progress. We believe the librarians and the library staff, we've got this. We're going to do it. And so please reach out. If you would like to see what Beanstack looks, if you don't have a student on the student end, please reach out. We'd be happy to show you the superintendent badges and the whole challenge. So just reach out and we will show you those details. And thank you.
Do we have any questions?
Okay.
So I noticed, Angela, can you go back to the minutes, or how many? Yes, I'm just curious. CE is always very competitive. How did they get 300,000?
Well, they actually have the most students, so they get 300,000. And we figure that,
I think it's Mr. Gideon.
I mean, we were looking at the numbers today. They've already, in the first couple weeks, already are at like 9% of their goal. The kids are familiar with it, and they're excited to be back in and reading again. And I'm definitely looking for middle school and high school now that, well, high school especially, the cell phones aren't there. It's been fun to watch them.
I wanted to add something.
Okay.
So I don't know if you noticed, but last weekend when I read all the newsletters, I logged my time in.
Yes.
So I was going to tell the school board, they read a lot of board agendas and reports. So what I'm thinking, we should challenge them to log their minutes after they read all of those reports, and we can put them in part of the challenge.
Yes, and we can definitely show you how to use Beanstack. We would love to come and share it with you.
That would be great. First of all, thank you for this, because you're speaking to my heart, first of all. Anybody who knows me knows this is like right up my alley, so I appreciate that. And I do believe that just the 15 minutes a day is an equalizer for our students. So thank you for doing that and for investing the time and for us committing to that, because this really means a lot. So thank you.
Thank you.
And I want to challenge my granddaughters. So yes, I want to sign up.
Yes. Sounds good. Thank you.
Okay, so we're moving to 4F, resolution regarding Senate Bill 12 and parent rights. Mr. Jackson?
Yes, ma'am. Good evening, Ms. Smith Faulkner, Vice President Martinez, and board members. So this resolution that is in front of you is something that is produced by TASB. Basically, it's them recognizing that Senate Bill 12 has this extensive amount of changes regarding parent rights. And they're saying, we're not going to have the policy ready for you until potentially mid-October, that board policy update 126. So here's something you can adopt as a school district if you want to say, hey, we're buying in right now earlier on to these or their laws as of September 1st. So we're buying in right now and showing that we're supporting this new Senate bill.
Any questions?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, you can amend it. So if you want to take a vote, it is an action because, of course, all the laws have become effective September 1st. We're waiting, like Wes said, to get further guidance on each one of them, and we're slowly rolling them out. If you wanted to do the resolution, if you want to take action on it tonight, you can, and it can be amended later with whatever amendments. There was one that, Wes, can you check that one item for me, you think?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, before we come back on an action
ma'am.
item? Okay.
I just think because almost half of us aren't here, I would rather us not take action tonight, if that's okay with everybody else. Mm-hmm.
Okay, we'll move to item number 7, discussion items. 7A is a capital improvement projects quarterly update.
Good evening, Madam Vice President, board members, Superintendent Ms. Renee Smith Faulkner. I've got just a discussion item that I'm bringing to you. Going back to our July 14th board meeting, I presented the original capital improvement projects for the 2025-26 school year that were basically based on 2 scopes of work. One was the roof concerns and then HVAC throughout the district. Based on the recent information that we received over the last couple weeks, and you heard a little bit tonight with our accountability rating with financial transparency, along with the bond construction update, that we feel like there's a very good chance the district can recoup some additional monies from that bond. And with that being said, the cost savings that we're looking at with these could also be put towards HVAC concerns away from Castleberry High School to other parts of the district, because we know there's some needs there where the bond money needs to solely isolate on Castleberry High School as well. So we have met with EMA, which is our electrical, mechanical, structural engineer that's tied under the umbrella of WRA. And they have looked at a lot of our HVAC units to get just another set of eyes on those. When we look at a replacement process, there's a lot of factors that go into replacing those units. For one is the unit oversized or undersized? So for example, on the original capital improvement projects, it had us replacing the auditorium units. We know here recently that those units are oversized. So we're going to dig into that a little bit further, and we feel like we can save at least $250,000, maybe $300,000 because of that. So that's part of it that goes into it. A lot of times, too, you have to look at the structural load of those units. For example, at Joy James, a couple years ago, we had to replace some units there, and those units were heavier than the original ones. So we had to do some structural engineer to the joists to make sure that those were able to be held and safely secured. The other thing we look at is the electrical and what it's going to do to the current electrical system. And what I mean by this is any of our renovated areas. Obviously, our new construction, it's programmed for current and future needs. If we were ever to expand onto that, we've built that into the electrical plan with the transformers and things of that nature. A big component that goes into it is the refrigerant type, okay? So I'm going to explain it to you. You don't have to take any tests, but at the end, you're not licensed to go work on HVAC units either, okay? So there is a refrigerant called R22, okay? They no longer make those units, okay, whether it's commercial or residential. A large majority of our units are R22s. However, we do have an enormous supply of refrigerant on hand. So if we were low on refrigerant, we can still get those units to work. There's also a refrigerant called 410A, and that is slowly being phased out as we speak now. You can still get the units, but at some point down the road, you're going to have to account for the units or the refrigerant that goes in it. We also have one called 404A that's in our freezers, and then the new one's going to be the 454B. So there's a lot of moving parts here as far as when you look at replacing units and things of that nature. Also, we look at lead times, the cost of the units, and what we're seeing is there's about a 28% increase just on the units along with the tariffs themselves. So with all this being said, we're also looking at possible grant opportunities that are out there, some energy cost savings that we can do through this replacement process. In terms of the district's inventory, okay, so we have physically looked at every unit in the district, okay? We have roughly, right now, we have about 456 units, rooftop units. We have 4 chillers at A.B. Cato and at CE. And then what we have is what is called a VRF system, which is at the middle school, that's basically chilled water through copper pipes. That's what was added to the original administrative suite. So one of the things that we look at too is we have put together a 10-year replacement plan, both for our roofs and our HVAC. That is what we currently have now, and along with what we're going to be adding at the new expansion at Castleberry High School. So what we're saying with the financial transparency right now, after 10 years, it'll look like, if things keep going the way they are, we're going to be about $4 million short, okay, of replacing all of our units over the cost of time. In terms of our roofs, we're looking at, we still have a 10-year replacement plan on that as well. We look at, again, with cost and the variables, that we're going to be looking at about a $10 million deficit after about 10 years, okay? So again, this goes back to the financial transparency, but at the same time, what are we doing in the meantime? So we have set up a robust preventative maintenance plan, okay? Of all the units I talked about, we're basically doing quarterly PM checks. And what we do there is obviously change the filters, clean the coils, check the belts, make sure that all the units are running along with the air handlers. So with this, we have really stressed this, and we have documented as well. So right now, as of next week, we will have all of our PMs done for the first quarter, okay? Then what we'll do then is start going into our second quarter, our third quarter, and then covering all 4 seasons as it's running 12 months out of the year. So we feel like our HVAC probably runs about 8 to 9 months out of the year, depending on weather and things of that nature. So performing these regular maintenance checks can prolong the life of the equipment. We do have some units that are working perfectly fine that are 15, 20 years old. One of the things we also look at is if there's a roof situation, we want to tie in the HVAC at the same time. So I'm just coming to you tonight to ask that we revise the capital improvement projects, which will be an action item later. We're not adding any money to the actual capital improvements plan. What we're doing is shifting what we initially thought that could be recouped in some bond money and taking the money that we have allotted and being able to use it for other campuses in our district as well. So with that, I thank you for your time and your cooperation. Is there any questions that you may have?
Any questions?
And the amount is the 200,000?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And that would be over the course of how long? I'm sorry, I might have
Just this
missed
year.
that. Just this year?
Yes.
Jan? Any questions? So I have a question. So you mentioned the replacement plan, and so I know we've always had the replacement plan for our buses, and it seems to work okay with the buses. How is it that it didn't work for the HVAC?
So HVAC over probably the last 7, 8 years, sometimes it was in the replacement plan, sometimes it was pulled out and brought into the capital improvements plan. So with that being said is we were really looking short term as far as what needed immediate repair versus let's take this out even further because we know it's coming at some time and let's be prepared for it. So those were really based on those needs at the time based on our overall budget, okay, and how that fell within the overall budget. So that again, we're keeping that separate from the replacement plan and putting it in capital improvements. So remember, capital improvements, we're really focusing on roofs and HVAC at this point.
So these HVACs that are these getting replaced, the ones you have listed here?
Yes, yes.
Okay, and that's with the new, I guess, the Freon, I guess, is that what it's called, or refrigerant?
Well, it's the Freon, and then, so the other thing, yes, they are R22. So a lot of times what's happening now is if a compressor goes, and the other thing that we look at too is how much cost we put into that unit, whether that's man hours, parts, labor, what have you. But in these specific ones, they're irreplaceable, meaning that we've had other people come out and look at it beyond our people itself. So, yes.
And where are those? Where are the ones that are being replaced?
So one is here at the admin building that feeds into the STEM offices, and then the other one is at the athletic complex that feeds into the varsity locker room. So right now, we have portable units in there that is manageable, but it's just a Band-Aid at this point. At some point, we're going to have to fix it.
So I have another question.
Yes.
But maybe this would be for you, Ms. Smith-Faulkner. Accounting-wise, I just wanted to see, is this something that's going to be like a budget amendment? How does this fall in there?
It will not be a budget amendment. And basically, to summarize what Lenny is saying is because the auditorium is in the footprint of the bond, we're able to replace those with bond money because it's in the footprint. So what Lenny's going to do is, because we were going to use replacement plan money to replace auditorium, we are able to go ahead and replace it because it's in the footprint of the bond, and then that money will be the money that he's saving from the high school now is going to be put into other areas that are failing.
So one thing I've failed to add is with this theory or thought process too, is we will be able to save substantial amount of money because we're going to be working with EMA, who, like I said, is under the umbrella of WRA, and we will be able to use some of the equipment like cranes and things of that nature when we start putting units on the new building late January, February. So now you're not having to pay for a mobilization fee for that crane and things of that nature. So there is some things there that we feel like we need to take advantage of that, because now's the time. There's not going to be another time like this that we can take advantage of that. But we're going to put some thought into it too to make sure that it's sized for the right amount of square footage as well.
Thank you. Any other questions? At this time, we will consider the consent agenda as presented. Do I have a motion? Okay. A second?
Second.
Okay. We will vote. Motion carries 4-0. We have further action items, 9A. Nine A. In view of our missing board members for tonight, I would suggest that we postpone. Okay? So that would be 9A. Whoops.
9A and 9B.
Both of them, 9A and 9B. And now on the 9B, that is the one that we can actually amend later on. And this one, it's important to remember that it has the part that in the parent rights, child can't be given any kind of non-life-saving assistance. So, that's one thing to consider. And so that's like, if your child is bleeding, they cannot have a Band-Aid issued because we don't have this approved yet.
We did send out the consent form for parents to sign. We did have a sample that we sent out, so at this point, we're waiting for the parents to give us consent. So I think what Mary Lou is saying is, we've already put this into motion, and your resolution just says that, yes, we're going to, we're committed to putting this in motion now since it's law, and we understand that we're getting further guidance as we're doing this.
And how else are we informing families or parents for this?
So Wes, if you'll come on up.
Oh, there we go. We're trying to give this to parents in bite-sized pieces and prioritize the things that we need. So we really wanted to make sure that we got, as Mary Lou was referring to, that permission out for the medical care and for them to see the school counselors and those kind of things. So we pushed that out first. TEA is beginning to release some parent rights documents and things that we can use to inform parents of the other pieces that are involved in Senate Bill 12.
So do you have, I guess, a timeline of these 25 things of, as far as rolling it out to families, or?
We're waiting for more guidance, and as the commissioner has been helping us and giving us more guidance, we are slowly rolling it out as we're getting more details.
Yes, ma'am. We want to make sure that we're giving them the correct and most accurate information that we can.
I think that we're okay if we want to read through it some more and consider it. I think that we are, because it's law, we are rolling
Yes, we're
out as
following
soon
it,
as
we're
we're
rolling
getting
it out.
yeah.
So we will postpone. Okay, we will consider 9C, consider approval of the amended capital improvement projects. Do I have a motion?
I move to approve the amended capital improvement projects as presented.
Do I have a second?
Second.
I thought you were taking it back. Okay, shall we vote? Motion passes 4-0. Okay, next we have 4D, consider approval of the school board operating, 9D. Consider approval of the school board operating procedures. And I think Mrs. Branch is going to give us just an update on that.
All right, on our last time that we looked at this, which I believe was in June, I believe it was, we made some adjustments to, and it's in red, down here on election, and it was, so we can look and get current information on that. And so this whole document has been reviewed, and those links have been added, and those are also in red, like you see right here with BBB. So as you go through the document, you'll see all the different items that were linked in red. So that was the next task, was to complete that. We presented this at the last board meeting. I don't believe there were any questions, and so we just moved on to this meeting to get it approved.
Thank you, Ms. Branch. And it does say discussion item on August 18th. And so now I am looking for a motion on approval.
I move to approve the school board operating procedures as presented.
Thank you.
Second.
Thank you. I have a motion and a second. Let's vote. Okay, motion passes 4-0. Okay. We'll move on to information items.
Madam Vice President, on the information items, I did not have any questions, but I did want to draw your attention to 10E, campus performance objectives, because we did share the performance objectives from the DIP. The campuses went back and they have specific performance objectives based for their campus needs. And so I did want you to see that because each campus now will also have their strategies and their campus improvement plans. In the next board meeting, of course, you'll be approving the district improvement plan. So just wanted you to know that they have their performance objectives and their goals, and they're listed there for you to review. You'll win with your minutes. You'll get to the 1,000,000 minutes.
Okay, you should have a September calendar for key dates. We have sporting events. Let's see. Yes. Maybe one of our board shirts.
Mr. Lasher, will the school board be on the field on military night?
Yes, yes, and we'll be getting directions out to you this week? Yeah.
Okay.
It's Friday.
Okay, and then we will have the parade for homecoming, and then homecoming.
And we're decorating
Tuesday of homecoming week, we will be decorating.
Ms. Smith Faulkner, can I ask a question on that?
Sure.
Do you guys want what you typically have? I know you have a different,
Theme.
where we set up the schoolhouse, is that what you want?
No.
Okay. You want just the chair? I mean, I just need to know.
Okay, I think Mrs. Branch will coordinate with you.
Okay.
Okay. But we will need to know, I would say, no later than the 19th, how many board members will be on the float, so we have the appropriate number of seats.
So what I want to know is where we're decorating. What I want to know is where we're decorating.
I would imagine that's the bus barn,
Yes, that'd be correct.
Okay, on Tuesday.
Tuesday.
So somebody will be there to, okay.
Yep.
Oh, and I will be there. I'll be at the parade.
Okay. 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 So I was thinking on the 20th, isn't there a fundraiser or something that the high school is doing? with the Mariachis? No? Okay. Linda will not be there. Okay. Oh, okay. So it's the 17th? I thought it was the 20th. Okay. Okay. Anybody have questions about anything listed? Okay. We'll be wearing our travel wear, I believe.
No, I'm talking about this Friday.
Oh, for this one, okay. Yeah. It would be one of our Castleberry shirts, whatever we have all matching, I would imagine.
The only one I have all y'all have is the gingham one.
Gingham. Okay with gingham?
Or light blue.
The long sleeve, the gingham with the logo.
That's the only one that I have that all y'all have. I mean, the only other one I have is the one that says, we've got this one.
Yeah, we could wear the T-shirt one.
You want to do our new ones with the Scott?
T-shirt, okay.
Me too.
Okay. Okay, so then board will wear the T-shirts for military night, okay? Okay. So that should be everything for September. Anybody have other questions on that? Okay, another item that we have on the discussion items is 11B, the board-sponsored Christmas dinner. I know various members are heading up different things, so we're not all here, but we do need to meet about that. I don't know if y'all looked at the guest list, but I noticed that was a shorter list than what I recall. Are we open to add people to that guest list? I didn't know why it was so much shorter this time.
I think Tracy Gallman is heading that up, and she had some ideas about some things to change, and the focus, as well as where the dinner is going to take place outside of Castleberry. And she was going to kind of present all of that to you. So I'm thinking maybe just wait until next month. I think it'd be okay to finalize that. The only thing I knew was we were removing past board members because of the budget. We were, had to cut our budget back, of course, like all the budgets. And so we were at $3,000. So removing, she thought that maybe we should remove people, which is really just past board members. There was no other groups that we could remove from that, and that she felt that it would be helpful with cost savings. And so what we have here is the guest list from last year. As long as this click here, that tab shows what we spent for the catering. And then we were just gonna go for what we're looking at for this year. She reached out to Joe T. Garcia's, and so she has some pricing there. But that's all I really know about the Christmas dinner. She was going to present everything.
Okay. Well, then we'll wait to hear back from Tracy. We do have time. Okay. Thank you. So 11C and D.
Yes, Madam Vice President. So on 11C, I had some questions, 11D. So for 11C, the school board budget dashboard, you know that this year I have 2 cabinet changes. I have 2 executive directors that have been promoted. Jacob Bowser, he has been instrumental in working on the budget dashboard, which has helped us to ensure that we are staying in budget. And last year, we actually were finished under budget. And so that dashboard link, if you'll try it, it was going to, I believe, the 24-25 school year. Now, when you click it, you should be able to see the 25-26 school year. He's already rolled it over. For the new year, it is directly linked with Skyward. And so Jacob has been instrumental in that, and he's also been working with the construction phase, doing the RFP for some of the technology so that we can save money, and using E-rate, and also heading up some of the E-rate reimbursements. And so he has worked on that. If you still cannot get into and view the information on the budget dashboard link, let us know, and he can work on it with you. Oh, you're looking for the school board budget? Okay. So not only that, he's working on what we're calling the school board budget dashboard 2.0. And so if you have any specific items that you would like to look at, I mean, you pretty much have a great view of that, and maybe not the school budget, the school board budget. So Jacob, I think that when we're looking at developing the dashboard 2.0, that would be great to add for them. Yeah, so right after the meeting, if you're having trouble, then Jacob can help you with it. Yeah, and that's the one I think that I was saying, that we have an updated link for you. So Jacob has been instrumental in working on that. So if there's any questions, then he can help you get into that link, since we have a new year that we're looking at the budget. And again, I think that's helped us stay on track and track exactly where we are on the budget. Item 11D is a strategic plan progress monitoring. Have lots of questions on when we're going to update that. We wanted to start with the DIP first, because that generates our objectives as we look at our data, and that feeds into the strategic plan. In addition, on cabinet, also had a promotion of Miss Christy Patton as an executive director because of the importance of SPED, and she also brings a background knowledge of our high school. And when I was talking about retesters and the fact that we're going to have to be able to track our retesters, she has put together a great plan and a list of students that she is working with, implementing with the high school and with Darla Barnes, and she is mentoring them and helping them, because when she oversaw that at the high school, part of the plan, part of our success was the fact that she really had a good grasp on retesters. And so you'll see that that's folded right into our strategic planning process and our DIP, so she'll be working with that also. So, and just monitoring the plan. So as far as strategic plan, that will be, the question was, it will be updated now based on the fact that we've set our new goals, and many of those goals are also in the strategic plan. I think, is there any more questions on strategic plan? Okay.
Okay, that brings us to 11E, the board committee discussions and updates. We do have Lone Star governance training, which has been scheduled for February 27th and 28th. Okay. So item 12A, to establish our next meeting, October 6th, for a regular board meeting.
I know there was an email around National School Board Conference. Is anybody else going? I think I would just like to know. It's
Is it in San Antonio? So it would be, yeah. I think we need to look at the budget because of the fact that
it's
April.
April.
Yeah. So I think we need to take a look at the budget because of the $5,000 on Lone Star governance.
And I think that's why I was looking for the budget number
Yes.
on that
Okay.
dashboard. So that was my thinking.
If you could send the information, like an update tomorrow, Angela, that would be great, so that we can know exactly where we are on our professional learning budget.
Okay. Any other questions?
I do have a question. So that Team of 8 governance that we're doing in February, what is the difference when we do it now versus like San Antonio or something? The Team of 8.
Well, this is the Lone Star Governance is a 2-day, 8-hour-a-day training on a Friday and a Saturday. And so I'm not sure that that would be something that would be offered at the national conference.
I don't think it's comparable.
Yeah.
Right, those are like choice sessions. This is more intentional for like designed, I think.
Just for our
us.
district, yeah.
Any other questions? Okay. Then I move that we adjourn. Hearing no objection, we stand adjourned at 8:54. Thank you.